7, and we had Anthology 39, which is navigating interracial borders, black and white couples, and their social worlds. Our rationings happened.
I'm Emmanuel Ntuseng.
I'm Chance Thurman.
I'm Aisha Walker.
And I'm Tony Cushing.
The summary of Anthology 39. Basically, the anthology talks about the author, who is a white woman. She interviewed black, white, heterosexual couples in committed relationships, and her reason for interviewing them is that she was interested in their experience, accounts, narratives, and ways they construct their lives as quote-unquote interracial couples. Her family was accepting of the marriage, but she learned in many ways how this was not what they or her community had scripted for her life.
I'm going to demonstrate the ability to identify the historical and contemporary factors and recognize the traditions and lifestyles of the racial ethnic groups within social, biological, and logical developmental context. Okay, first of all, some of the historical factors or laws forbidden interracial marriages and societal attitudes toward interracial marriages and relationships, unnatural, exotic. And the contemporary factors, laws against interracial marriages have been turned down. Black and white relationships are viewed as a sign of improving race relations. And okay, within this anthology, the social world of black and white interracial couples determines the way attitudes shape private relationships. Opposition still exists, yet it isn't visible until it's some of your family being involved, or interracial couples are considered like borderline, and that's about it. I guess
So I will be talking today about the minority groups' values and how they conflict with the dominant society values. And actually, in this anthology, unlike most of them, the minority group and the majority group has similar values, and that was that they wanted to have monoracial marriages, which basically meant that they preferred that their families marry within their race. The views were similar about the monoracial marriages, but they had different reasons for wanting their families to marry within their race. For the black families, which would be the minorities, their values were that they believed that their family members would be getting treated wrong by the spouse, by the Caucasian spouse's family. Like, they didn't believe that they would treat them 100% fairly simply because that they was black, and they were basically going off the notion that white people are evil, and the interactions that some of them have with white people were, racist. So they have that mindset in their head that white people basically just are not going to fully accept a black person into their family. Black people also said that they didn't want to marry, they didn't want interracial marriages simply because of race, while white people stated that they didn't want interracial marriages because they seen many problems within the interracial marriages, the beliefs that come behind interracial marriages, and they also felt like, in a sense, that they will become less white. So those are the views and the conflicts on interracial marriages.
Influence of prejudice, discrimination, and oppression within the matrix of race, class, and gender as experienced by racial ethnic groups, and the impact of these forces on social, political, and economic justice. Navigating through interracial borders, black and white couples, and their social worlds. Within the social worlds of race and cultural diversity, we, meaning African Americans, tend towards our own communities. We have a tendency not to cross the borders of other communities that are divided by another race, such as white Americans. It is also taboo in our culture that we don't mix or do the mixing of races according to our families, and also because of the prejudice and racism that has existed in America. Interracial marriages were outlawed. Necessity laws existed prior to 1967 due to the London versus Virginia case of interracial marriages that became outlawed. Interracial marriages became legal. They were also legal for a white man to marry any race of his choice, but not for a black man to marry outside of his race. Interracial marriages are basically, they remain taboo currently, and also were condemned in most social boundaries. The Europeans used race as a way to discriminate in order to dominate other cultures throughout the world. This is a way of them creating a subculture in order to have a sense of servitude, or to have other cultures beneath them in order to serve them and do the job that they did not want to do. And also with the discrimination that Erica Cheeto Childs, she mentioned that her niece went to prom with her boyfriend, and when her boyfriend arrived to the home, the parents, the mother and the father, would not allow him to enter nor make any visits. So they did not want to blacken their Portuguese culture. So yeah, it still remains against many cultures, other than just blacks and whites, but other cultures, including the Portuguese. Thank you.
Okay, my part was D, the role of theory and how it may or may not ethically guide social work practice, discuss the manner in which race or ethnicity influence help-seeking behavior. I decided that the systems theory took part in this anthology. The systems theory is defined, it says describes human behavior in terms of complex systems. It is premised on the idea that an effective system is based on individual needs, rewards, expectations, and attributes of the people living in the system. According to this theory, families, couples, and organizational members are directly involved in resolving a problem, even if it is an individual issue. I feel that it relates to the anthology based on the fact that the family is considered the system, and due to bringing like an outside race, or like they said, a minority, it would change the system that they become accustomed to. And although that they said that they said they had alternative reasons as far as like not necessarily racism, but just like the overall change, I feel that it does play a part. And also, when it said in here as far as individual needs or expectations, once again, that's like expectation of their family or their image or their way of life, subject to change due to bringing an outside race into their system. And when it says families and couples may be involved, although it's the individual issue, the family did play an overall part in making, not necessarily making the decision, but basically they did make the decision for the actual daughter, but for the niece they did, not allow him to come in for prom and things like that. So that's all.
Okay, for the psychosocial theory will also be applicable to this anthology, and well, the attitudes and beliefs of the family in this anthology are shaped by their social environment, how they were nurtured, like what they were taught in their families, what they learned at school, and overall what they see in society. So even though her family wasn't opposed to her relationship and her marriage, however, she was aware that they didn't fully support it, because they demonstrated that when they were against the niece actually dating and probably eventually marrying to someone from an outside race. Appropriate intervention strategies based on the assessment, research, knowledge, and values and preferences of ethnic groups. So as social workers, while social workers are dealing with interracial couples and families, the intervention should incorporate the challenges they encounter. Well, with African Americans, the challenges of racism that they encounter. Also, social workers should be aware of their racial and cultural biases. And they also should include the many facets of the client's ancestry in the interventions. So how can social work practice foster or detract from the attainment of social and economic justice for the population at risk? Well, in social workers' field of work, they should possess multicultural competency and use culturally sensitive approaches. Also, they should use their positions to educate the public on interracial families and relationships to help rid of the myths and stereotypes attached to these families and relationships.